With 3 separate YouTube channels to produce content for, I'm always going to be behind somewhere. I have to allocate my time depending on where I feel it will be best spent, either on my main CSGO channel, or on my second gaming channel, or here on this vlog channel. Vlog, whatever. Where I feel is best varies quite often, depending on new releases, what I want to make, viewer burnout, and so on. There are numerous benefits to having multiple channels, but the downsides are also quite considerable, being that I'm always neglecting at least one of those channels, and that the ones that are doing well aren't doing as well as if I dedicated all of my time to doing them. But here, in June 2021, I find myself in the extraordinary position of underperforming on all 3. That's quite an impressive feat if I say so myself. Normally I'd have an excuse of some kind, like I was dedicating my efforts to another channel, but this time I haven't got that excuse. I've been hard at work. ThreeClicks Philip has received regular new videos, big ones which have involved a lot of work to produce. Yet he's in dire straits, receiving dire stats. That channel's in need of some dire strats. A year ago, a video getting less than 100,000 views in the first 24 hours would have been unheard of. But now here he is, with 3 of his latest 4 still with less than that after several days or weeks. You know that rather new YouTube feature that tells you how your videos are performing? Occasionally a video will do really badly and will get 10 out of 10, meaning it's the worst performing video that you've released in recent memory. Well, 3 of my latest 4 videos have been 10 out of 10 in that regard, so at least in some way I've been breaking records. No matter how I frame it, that channel isn't doing well right now. The subscriber numbers are way down on previous months, and it's not like last month's was that good, but this month is far, far worse. ThreeClicks Philip has grown by 772 subscribers in total in the last month. I was getting more than that a day this time last year. I'm fine with fluctuating figures, but a subscriber drop this big is insane. There are other certainties that have been broken too. If I release a new video, I used to be able to expect 200,000 views or more on that day for the channel, and at least 100,000 the following one. But look at this! New video released, 87,000 views that day, dropping down to 53,000 the following. Another video was released the following day, and this time ThreeClicks Philip got just 76,000 views on the day of release. And the day after that, 45,000. And then 35,000. For ThreeClicks Philip, who could previously quite comfortably sit above 100,000 views per day, this is terrible. I understand that it might be that the videos I'm currently releasing might not be the most popular of subjects, but even factoring that in, ThreeClicks Philip is doing terribly. Now, ThreeClicks Philip has done a fair few paid promotions in recent months, which don't normally perform as well as other sorts of content. They're often part of some great videos, and I'm sure to release regular content between these so that viewers still get what they're used to. But even with this in mind, nothing I can see can explain why this channel is underperforming this badly. If we zoom out beyond my channel, CSGO hasn't been that interesting. People have got what they want from it, but I haven't had regular updates to cover. I've had about 3 in the first half of this year that would be worth making a video about, which means that a lot of regular viewers won't have as much of a reason to view my channel as normal. Add to that the collapse of the American pro scene, the country that ThreeClicks Philip gets most of his viewers from, and it could just be that CSGO isn't that interesting to watch at the moment. So let's move on over to another one of my channels, TwoClicks Philip. This is the channel I've neglected the most this year. I did do a 2-parter for the Total War series, which historically has been very popular, but the views dropped straight off for that second part, so it doesn't look like they're particularly successful anymore either. Then the release of this next video resulted in a large subscriber exodus, which I'm sure is because of the thumbnail, but I regret nothing about stripping off and kissing the processor. So I think again, the content I've released this year is partly to blame for the view and subscriber drop-off on TwoClicks Philip. My C4 CSS video earlier in the year used copyrighted music, so couldn't be monetized. I was aware of this before making it. This sort of strike doesn't get my channel deleted or anything like that, but it does mean that the video can't earn me money, which is fair enough. It was a video idea that I've wanted to make for years. I did it for the love, so it doesn't bother me too much. But I get a feeling that releasing a video with copyrighted music messes with the analytics for a while, and for whatever reason it takes a while for the stats on that channel to recover again. So I'm not saying that those videos are to blame for my poor stats, but they certainly didn't help. And then the music in my speaker video got struck with the old copyright thing as well. This time I do have permission to use that music. The strike was an automatic thing from a third-party music label, but I just haven't bothered to bother David with all this just yet. Long story short, TwoClicks Philip needs to make content that people want to watch. I'll accept that here. But just like with ThreeClicks Philip, you can see that this month's views are significantly down, and subscribers are virtually non-existent. At just 266 in the last month, that's 1,700 less than normal. So on both of my main channels, this last month has seen but a tiny fraction of the normal subscriber growth. That's crazy. And lastly, let's talk about this CLIX Philip channel. I feel the COVID videos haven't been very popular. I'm doing them to document history, and it's apparent that some of you do love them and enjoy tuning in every month, but they're mostly for people to look back at in a few years or so. So I don't feel like the COVID series has helped this channel's performance. And recent episodes are getting hammered pretty heavily for talking about vaccines, which have somehow become a controversial topic. But you know that experiment I did a few months ago, that 5 minutes with Phil? It was a return to my more normal sort of content for this channel, but under a strong and memorable brand, which I think has stuck even though the name has since been dropped. While I kept that regular content up, this channel did perform reasonably well. But the moment I stopped doing that regular content, it's returned exactly to how it was before. How anticlimactic. Oh, and again, in this past month, views are greatly down and subscribers down even more. Fascinating. It's always very difficult to understand exactly what's going on with this sort of stuff. I think COVID has had a large impact. Last year, when everybody stayed inside, my channels all did very well. So it could just be that we're seeing the opposite of that in recent months, now that people are putting down their phones and going outside again instead. I hope it's that, firstly because it's wholesome, and secondly because then it isn't my fault and this is just a temporary blip. A more sinister reason could be a change in algorithm. After a while, you get a feel for YouTube. Like I said, you learn that on days where you release a new video, you'll get X viewers, and that your subscriber growth should be somewhere between the range of Y and Z. And I felt that all this has been off since the beginning of this year. It's almost as though YouTube has completely changed direction with how it chooses to display content. I feel it's been trying to eradicate the significance of subscribers for quite some time now, as though YouTube thinks it knows better than we do about what channels we want to watch and when we want to see them and so on. If this is what's happening, then I need to change my approach because it's apparent that my old style of content is no longer what the algorithm or what the people want. And the last thing that's happening could just be that I'm making bad videos. I personally think it's interesting to have a virtual tour around an old CSS map, but I can see why other people won't find that interesting. I like my current emphasis on the mapping and the graphics and so on, but maybe other people want content that's more to do with Counter-Strike's gameplay. So that's something ThreeClicks Philip will bear in mind. How's PewDiePie doing right now? His views are about half of what they were this time last year, so that makes me feel better about it. It might not just be me, it might just be YouTube as a whole that's going through a depression of sorts. And his subscriber growth seems to have slowed down as well, though because of the new way YouTube documents these publicly, it's really hard to tell for sure what's going on here. But I can't blame all this on YouTube. I compare myself to other channels around me and I'm being hit far harder than any of them. At some point I just have to say that, yeah, all three of my channels are doing badly and I need to change my approach. One thing that's still working in my favour is this: the less time I spend making a video, the more successful it is. That bot video, that matchmaking rise and fall video, and my most popular videos on this channel recently, all these have something in common. I haven't needed to research anything, I haven't taken the time to learn new things. I have just opened up a Word document and have started typing my opinions about something, be it a feature in CSGO, my opinion on bots, or my opinion on idiots or whatever, and these videos seem to do really well. So looking at my channels, yes, the stats are horrifying, but at least it's new ground. I've seen virtually every combination of success and failure there is, and it's almost refreshing to be somewhere else, even if that does mean being put in a worse position than I've ever been put in before. I'm not on a high right now, I'm plummeting down, and I need to stop focusing on what I'm losing and to see the new opportunities this opens up. Namely, I need to get out of my comfort zone. I'm sticking to tried and tested video content, and for the most part, it's clear this isn't working anymore. I need to investigate new options and new kinds of content. That Case Unboxing Millionaire series was me doing exactly that, forcing myself to come up with a new series. I half expected failure. I went into that not knowing how it would be received, and it ended up being one of the best decisions I've made in recent years. Likewise, those popular videos where I just talk about stuff, every time I load up a Word document and start typing, I fear I'm going to make a bad video. There's something about having to research and prepare a video that gives me comfort that my video is going to be good, or that it will at least hit a certain level of quality. And I don't have that safety net when I'm just talking about how I feel about something. I could be way off about it. I guess you could see the 5 Minutes with Phil series as being similar to this sort of experiment, but with hindsight, this one was a failure. Some good came out of it, but it didn't justify the amount of time it took away from my main channels. I jumped into producing regular content on CLIX Philip without an idea of where I was headed with it, and it ended up not really going anywhere. Though I'll admit it was a welcome break for me to get away from my main channels for a while. So what's next for the Klik Empire? I think I need to experiment more, and to be unafraid of failure, which is easier if my channels are already failing. It's almost like I need to go out looking for failure, but to be receptive to when I discover something that isn't a failure along the way. So that's just a mid-year update to my channels and where they are, and how I feel I should deal with the situation moving forward.